Let's start where it all began, Pagodon. This frozen wasteland is where we first meet Din Djarin, and honestly, it sets the tone perfectly. The planet is basically one giant ice cube located in the Outer Rim territories, which is Star Wars speak for the edge of known space. Remember that blue Mithril guy Mando captures in the first 5 minutes? That's happening on Pagodon. The planet's environment is extremely harsh, with sub-zero temperatures and dangerous predators lurking beneath the ice. The Raveneks are massive aquatic creatures that hunt from below the frozen surface, waiting for prey to fall through the weak spots in the ice. Din uses his Ambun Phase Pulse blaster rifle to take one down. That's the same weapon he uses throughout the series for long-range targets. This planet only appears once in the entire show, but it establishes everything we need to know about Din Djarin's skills and personality. He's efficient, prepared, and delivers his lines with perfect timing. The "I can bring you in warm" or "I can bring you in cold" moment becomes one of the show's most quoted lines, and it all happens on this icy rock. Now let's talk about Nevarro, because this place is basically Mando's home away from home. If you've watched the show, you've been to Nevarro more times than any other planet in the series. In Season 1, it's this rough lava planet where bounty hunters gather and conduct their business. Greef Karga runs the Bounty Hunters Guild from here, operating out of a cantina in the main town. The whole place has this Wild West feeling, like an old frontier town where anything can happen. What makes Nevarro special is how it transforms throughout the series. The planet is known for its lava flats and lava rivers that flow through the landscape, creating a dangerous but visually stunning environment. In early episodes, the town is barely civilized, just a collection of buildings where hunters trade information and collect bounties. But by Season 3, Nevarro has completely changed. It becomes a legitimate trade hub with schools, markets, and actual law enforcement. Greef Karga goes from guildmaster to high magistrate, turning the planet into a thriving community. The planet sits somewhere in the Outer Rim on a major hyperspace route called the Hydean Way, which makes it a strategic location for trade and travel. Interestingly, despite being one of the most important planets in the show, its exact coordinates in the galaxy haven't been officially mapped yet. The transformation of Nevarro mirrors Din's own journey, from a lone bounty hunter following the guild code to someone who cares about building something better. Here's something that hits different when you know the backstory, AQ Vitina. The show never actually speaks this name out loud, but this is Din Djarin's birth planet. You know those flashbacks where young Din is running from separatist battle droids during the Clone Wars, and the Mandalorians swoop in to save him? That's all happening on AQ Vitina. The planet experienced a separatist attack during the Clone Wars, which was the galaxy-wide conflict between the Republic and the Separatist Alliance. Din was just a child when battle droids invaded his home and his parents hid him in a bunker to protect him. The Mandalorians who rescued him were part of Death Watch, a Mandalorian faction that played a major role during that era. After the rescue, they took Din to Concordia, one of Mandalore's moons, where he was raised in the Mandalorian tradition. AQ Vitina's location in the Outer Rim has been revealed through official Star Wars galaxy maps, placing it between Ajon Kloss and Dantooine. Ajon Kloss is where the Resistance had a base in The Rise of Skywalker, while Dantooine is an old Rebel Alliance location mentioned way back in A New Hope. So technically, Din is from AQ Vitina, but he didn't grow up there. His true home became Concordia and the Mandalorian culture itself. This distinction is important because it explains why Din follows the Way so strictly. The Mandalorian saved his life and gave him a new identity when he had nothing left. Arvala 7 is where everything changes for Din Djarin. This is the planet where he finds Grogu, the child who becomes the center of his entire journey. The place is rough. Desert terrain, rocky outcrops, and dangerous wildlife make it a challenging environment for anyone trying to survive here. But it's also home to Kuiil, the Ugnaught moisture farmer who teaches Din about honor and doing the right thing. The planet features several unique creatures that play important roles in the story. Blurgs are large reptilian beasts that can be ridden once trained, though they're naturally aggressive and difficult to handle. Din struggles with them at first, but Kuiil teaches him patience, saying, "I have spoken," a phrase that becomes his signature. Then there's the Mudhorn, a massive horned creature that attacks Din when he's searching for its egg. The fight with the Mudhorn is a turning point because Grogu uses the Force for the first time to save Din's life, revealing his special abilities. After defeating the Mudhorn, Din chooses its skull as his signet, the symbol that represents him on his armor. In Mandalorian culture, your signet represents a major accomplishment or defining moment in your life. The Mudhorn becomes Din's identity marker, appearing on his pauldron for the rest of the series. Arvala 7 sits in the Outer Rim between Scarif and Ryloth. Scarif is the tropical planet where the Death Star plans were stolen in Rogue One, while Ryloth is the homeworld of the Twi'leks, a species that appears throughout Star Wars. The planet's location puts it in a strategic position, though its harsh environment keeps it mostly uninhabited except for individuals like Kuiil who prefer solitude. Sorgan deserves more appreciation in the Star Wars community. This farming planet represents a path Din Djarin could have taken, a quiet life away from bounty hunting and constant danger. The whole planet is covered in forests and small farming villages, with the main economy centered around krill farming and ponds scattered across the land. The population is small and spread out, with most people living simple lives far from galactic conflicts. Din and Grogu hide out here in Season 1 after the events on Navarro, hoping to lay low for a while. He meets Omera, a widow and skilled sharpshooter who helps defend her village from Klatooinian raiders. These raiders are using an Imperial ATST walker to terrorize the farmers, stealing their harvest season after season. Din, along with Cara Dune, trains the villagers to fight back and sets up a trap that destroys the walker. It's one of the few times we see Din acting as a protector rather than a hunter. There's a moment in the Sorgan episode where you can see Din considering staying. Grogu is happy playing with the other children. Omera offers him a chance at peace, but a bounty hunter tracks them down, proving that nowhere is safe as long as the guild is hunting them. The planet is located near Tatooine and Geonosis in the Outer Rim. Geonosis is where the Clone Wars started and where the first Death Star was designed, so Sorgan sits in a historically significant region despite being so peaceful itself. The planet shows what the galaxy could be without constant war, simple communities working together and living off the land. Maldo Kreis is the ice planet that proves the galaxy is actively trying to kill Din Djarin. He's flying the Razor Crest between planets when New Republic X-Wing pilots Captain Carson Teva and Trapper Wolf spot him and give chase. But they're not trying to arrest him, they just want to scan his ship because he's flying through their space. But Din, being wanted by the guild and carrying precious cargo, panics and tries to run. This decision leads to one of his worst crash landings in the series. The planet itself is a frozen wasteland with extreme cold temperatures that make survival difficult, but it does have some geothermal activity, creating hot springs and caves beneath the ice where heat rises from the planet's core. Unfortunately, these warm caves are also home to ice spiders, massive arachnid creatures that can grow larger than a human. When Din crashes, the Razor Crest breaks through the ice into one of these caves, and suddenly he's not just dealing with ship damage, he's fighting off dozens of spiders, including one absolutely massive mother spider that's the size of a small building. The Frog Lady, a passenger Din is transporting, nearly loses her eggs during the attack. Grogu, being Grogu, keeps trying to eat them, which adds some levity to an otherwise terrifying situation. The New Republic pilots eventually help fight off the spiders and let Din go, showing that not everyone in authority is an enemy. Maldo Kreis sits between Tatooine and Trask on the route Din is traveling. The planet serves no other purpose in the story except to be an obstacle, but it's memorable because of how intense and claustrophobic the spider attack feels. It's one of those moments where you remember that space travel in Star Wars isn't always glamorous. Sometimes you crash on a nightmare planet and fight giant spiders. Kol Ibn is a gas giant, which means it's a massive planet made mostly of gas with no solid surface to land on. These types of planets are common in our real universe and in Star Wars. Jupiter and Saturn are gas giants in our solar system. In Star Wars, gas giants often have moons orbiting them that can support life, and that's exactly what we see with Kol Ibn. The planet itself appears in the background of several shots as Din approaches its moon Trask. It's visually impressive, with swirling atmospheric patterns and a massive size that makes the Razor Crest look tiny in comparison. Gas giants in Star Wars serve multiple purposes. They're sources of Tabana gas, which is used in blaster weapons and starship fuel. Cloud City on Bespin, which we see in The Empire Strikes Back, is a mining facility built to harvest Tabana from a gas giant. Kol Ibn is located in the Outer Rim in the Arcanis sector, which is the same region that contains Tatooine and Geonosis. The Arcanis sector is actually pretty important in Star Wars history. It's been the site of multiple conflicts and contains several strategic worlds. While we don't land on Kol Ibn in the show, its presence adds to the world building and reminds us that the Star Wars galaxy has all types of celestial bodies, not just habitable planets. The gas giant's blue and white coloring makes it visually distinct and creates a beautiful backdrop for the scenes taking place on its moon. Trask is far more interesting than its parent gas giant. This moon is almost entirely covered by ocean, with very little landmass above water. The main location we see is a port town built on docks and platforms extending over the sea. The economy here runs on fishing and trade, with boats constantly coming and going, bringing in catches from the rich waters. The moon has a thick, humid atmosphere with frequent rain and mist, giving everything a wet, slippery feeling. The architecture is built to handle constant moisture, with most buildings on stilts or floating platforms. The population is diverse, with many species working together in the fishing industry. This is where Din meets Bo-Katan Kryze and her team of night owls, other Mandalorians who don't follow the same strict code as Din's group. Bo-Katan is on track Trask for a specific reason. She's gathering weapons and planning to retake Mandalore, the Mandalorian homeworld. Her crew intercepts an Imperial transport ship, both to steal its weapons and to use the ship for future operations. This is where Din learns that not all Mandalorians follow the never remove your helmet rule. Bo-Katan and her crew take their helmets off regularly, which shocks Din because he's been taught this is forbidden. She explains that his group, the Children of the Watch, is a specific sect of Mandalorians with stricter rules. Trask orbits Kol Eben in the Arcanis sector, very close to both Tatooine and Geonosis. The moon's ocean environment makes it completely different from the desert worlds we usually see in Star Wars. The fishing industry and wet climate create a unique atmosphere that stands out in the series. It's also where Din starts questioning his beliefs about what it means to be Mandalorian, setting up character development that continues throughout the show. Corvus brings one of the most significant episodes in the series. This forested planet is home to Caladan, a walled city ruled by Magistrate Morgan Elsbeth. The planet used to be covered in beautiful forests, but Elsbeth destroyed much of the environment while serving the Empire. She used the planet's resources to help build the Imperial fleet, cutting down forests and polluting the land in the process. This is the episode where Din finally meets a Jedi. Bo-Katan sent him to Corvus to find Ahsoka, hoping she can train Grogu. The meeting is tense at first. Ahsoka can sense Grogu's thoughts through the Force and learns his name and history. She reveals that Grogu was raised at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant and was hidden during Order 66, the event where the clones turned on the Jedi. His memories are dark and traumatic, which explains why he doesn't use the Force openly. Ahsoka initially refuses to train Grogu, fearing his attachment to Din could lead him down a dark path, but she agrees to help liberate Caladan from Elsbeth's rule. The fight between Ahsoka and Elsbeth is one of the best duels in the series. Ahsoka with her white lightsabers versus Elsbeth with a pure Beskar spear. Din helps by creating a distraction, and together they free the city. Corvus sits in the Outer Rim next to Felucia. Felucia is a planet known for its massive fungal forests and dangerous plant life. It appears in Revenge of the Sith and various Star Wars games. The location of Corvus near Felucia suggests this region of the Outer Rim has particularly strong natural environments. Before Elsbeth's destruction, Corvus probably looked similar to Felucia, wild, overgrown, and beautiful. The planet represents the Empire's environmental damage and how war affects not just people but entire ecosystems. 15 planets, each one adding another piece to Din Djarin's journey. From frozen wastelands to ocean moons, from peaceful farming villages to dying forests. The Mandalorian has shown us more new worlds than any Star Wars show before it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out more related content shown on screen.